Did you know that the world population grew 4 times in the year 1900 and 2000? And India alone accounts for 18% of the total world population and growing at a rate of 1.93% per annum. But why am I throwing this data at you? Well, because today's topic of the show in the Smart City series is green building and the crucial role that they play in energy efficiency. On the show today, we tell you why green buildings are crucial in our cities, initiatives by the government in green revolution, and a chat with USBBC's Punit Mittal. Energy efficiency, minimal consumption of water and electricity. Wow, everything sounds great, but how is it achieved? What are the techniques involved to make it possible? Well, we tell you all, and let me tell you, our natural energies, wind and sun, plays a big role in this. Technologies like efficient cooling systems have sensors that can sense the heat generated from human body and automatically adjust the room temperature, saving energy. It applies to lighting systems too. Green buildings have a smarter lighting system that automatically switches off when no one is present inside the rooms. Use of energy efficient LEDs and CFLs instead of conventional incandescent lamp, which eats up more power. Simple technologies like air-based flushing system in toilets that avoids water use by 100%. New generation appliances that consume less energy, and many other options help in making the buildings green and make them different from conventional ones.
Coming to energy first, a green building should be designed such that it, first of all, reduces the consumption of energy. Something like having energy efficient air conditioning systems, lighting systems, intelligent lighting systems, so that it decreases the whole consumption of electricity. On the other hand, utilizing a lot of natural light, daylight, natural ventilation, so that you are not dependent on electricity. And also, on the other hand, employing renewable energy sources like solar energy, wind energy, biomass sources to produce energy.
Interestingly, Indians were always aware of green building concepts from the beginning. Homes with baked red color roof tiles and clay walls are good examples of energy efficient structures that are used to keep cool during summers and warm during winters. Most of rural India is still attached to this building technology with naturally available materials like clay, wood, jute ropes, etc.
Very rightly pointed. In fact, all the green concept always says that you have to use local material, you have to use local manpower and expertise to build upon, so that no society around is sustainable, they get benefited. So I think so we were always doing that. We were good in using local material. In Rajasthan you see stones being used, while in other areas you would have a different kind of architecture altogether. So it always suited the local like whatever is the available resources. Why I would still look at Indian concepts is because we were really good on ventilation, we were really good on light management.
To build a green building, it's important to choose a location which is not prone to natural calamities.
It's a very important thing when you look at a site of whether you should build it on it and how should you orient your building when you put it on a site. That fundamental effect of putting it in a proper orientation, in a proper manner, can make or break a building in a way, or the economy in a way. You see, for example, when we did the homes in Kashmir, in the floodplains, because they had not looked at the site, the site evaluation was not done scientifically, they did not know that they were sitting on a floodplain.
Proper insulation like checking air leaks around windows, doors and ducts will not only reduce your energy consumption but will bring down your electricity bills substantially. Reuse your old materials such as wood floors, doors, windows in your next home. Recycled materials such as recycled glass, aluminium, tiles and plastic can be used in green home building.
It is always better to use modular sizes in your design. If I'm using a slab of stone, I'm cutting it to as per size, as per fancy sizes, which means there's a lot of wastage happening. If I have modular sizes 2x2, 4x4, etc., I will order my stone in those sizes, which means much lesser wastage when I'm employing it. So this is material efficiency. Health. Green buildings by their nature are healthier buildings. because your materials are much more natural, your processes are much more natural, which means your materials are low or no VOC. They do not have volatile organic compounds, which means the indoor air is much more non-toxic. Your air conditioning systems, ventilations per cycle would be much better. Your materials would be more antibacterial, mold resistant, because it is a green building, so you have designed it for more natural light, more natural ventilation.
By taking advantage of solar power through solar panels, energy consumption can be brought down. Water can be saved with rainwater harvesting. The collected water can then be used for purposes such as toilets and sprinkler systems. Geothermal energy is known as energy from the earth, which provides unlimited energy to heat and cool the home. During the winter season, geothermal heat pump uses the earth loop to extract heat from deep underground. Quite recently, it was reported that Denmark produced 116% of its national electricity from wind turbines and even exported power to Norway, Germany, and Sweden thanks to its wind farms. Apart from individuals and private companies, a very crucial role is played by the government to construct a green city and in energy efficient ways. And for this, some experts feel that the government must give some incentives to the builders for them to construct more and more green buildings. The idea of green buildings must be made attractive to people in terms of money too. The state government is planning to lower property tax for such buildings. When approved, it will make it mandatory for builders to provide solar installations for water heating, rainwater harvesting, water recycling and use of high-grade construction material with good insulation.
Today, green building industry in India is quite nascent stage, and we can maybe draw an analogy. It's green. It is green as of now, as in the sense it's not matured. It is at the initial stages. So if you draw a comparison to the IT industry maybe 20 years back, people thought, why do I need a computer? And you know the people who thought like that, where they are today. Same as with the green industry. It's a matter of people seeing the demand. Public is going to demand. The consumer is going to demand cleaner environment, better environment, healthier environment, energy efficient environment. So it's up to the builders. If they take the lead and join the industry and the movement well in time, they'll be at an advantage. Otherwise, they'll be left behind and they'll have to chase.
The government also plans to extend the tax benefit for existing buildings. A timeline for retrofitting will be provided. The ministry is implementing a program on development of solar cities, wherein about 100 small townships are proposed to be developed as green campus. The financial assistance up to ₹5 lakh for preparation of a master plan, including the action plan for renewable energy installations, green campus development, awareness generation and trainings, etc. is available.
I do feel that whatever steps are initiated are in the right direction. In an exercise as large as this, there will be mistakes, stroke, oversights that will happen, and it's great that the government has initiated a process of correcting those mistakes and taking the inputs from the public in addressing that. And the new DP will bring in a lot of changes in terms of sustainable development, which will dramatically help the city. So overall, it's clearly a move in the right direction. Every city, every 10 years needs a new development plan to address to the present needs of the city. So it is very important that we recognize that a new development plan is required.
SIDBI has been providing financial assistance to green buildings certified by accredited rating agencies, including REHA, by offering concessional rate of interest.
It is under consideration. A lot of governments are thinking right now. People are voluntarily, and as I told you, India has the largest number of green buildings, and some feel if it is made mandatory, then people will start cutting corners. If it is voluntary, they do it, themselves, and they do it with wholeheartedness. So that is one school of thought, and but government. In itself, they are trying to give incentives for going for ratings. For instance, Noida and Greater Noida authorities, they give you 50% FAR, extra FAR if you are this thing here is a platinum rated, LEED platinum rated, or it is GRIA 4 or 5-star rated. Even Housing and Urban Development Board of Punjab gives extra FIR if your building is B or GRIA rated. Closer Home, Pimpri Chinchwad Municipal Council, they gave you 10 to 50% discount on building permission fees if it is GRIA rated. So they are trying to give incentive to people rather than making it mandatory and then people start avoiding it or trying to cut corners to it. They are trying to give them incentives to go for green ratings.
The main categories of green building incentives world over are expedited permits, which is priority in building permit processing and plan review, sometimes with the requirement for posting a bond to guarantee the result. Tax treatment, which includes tax incentives, particularly property tax abatements for projects achieving LEED Silver or GRIA 3-star or better certification. Increased FAR, which is increased floor to area ratios or FSI, which allow a developer to construct more building area than allowed by applicable zoning. It's time for a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with lots more on the other side.
What are the parameters that make a building green?
Site, water, energy, environment quality, and materials. And there is also a window called innovation.
Now we'll go over to Pooja Salanki, who chatted with Punit Mittal, Regional Manager Asia Pacific and Middle East USGBC, for more on green buildings.
Hello and welcome to the show, Punit.
Thanks, Pooja, for inviting us.
We are talking about green buildings. So what are the parameters that make a building green?
So there are a couple of things, as I told, there are some 5 parameters what we are broadly focusing on, which include site, water, energy, environment quality, and materials. And there is also a window called innovation. So if something is not covered within the rating program, we have a window wherein projects can showcase their innovation, and we have special credits for that. So under these modules, we have sub-parameters, and people are flexible to choose any of their credit that they want to apply for. We usually set the standards. We don't prescribe any particular product or technology. So that's a flexibility, to any project owner to decide upon how to achieve that particular credit. So that's how LEED works for different building types for different communities.
As you mentioned earlier that green buildings are energy efficient. So what are the techniques or the processes involved in making green buildings energy efficient?
See, there are a couple of things, as we have moved upon, the market have also got transformed. So earlier we used to talk about conventional chillers, now we have high performance chillers. So like this, if you talk specifically on energy, so energy, there were a couple of things like glass that contribute to energy. There are chillers, there are HVAC units, there are lighting. So we have evolved over the stage of incandescent lighting to a LED, and right now, LEDs are also becoming much more cheaper. So, all this put together gives you energy efficiency, and we from LEED look at energy efficiency as a holistic view.
Talking about the interiors, how do you make the interiors green?
See, interiors is again a very important subject because, as you know, any human being would spend more than 90% of the time interiors, and right now, interiors are much more polluted than the outside air, which could be of the factor of 3 to 5%. So it's very important, what we are doing in interiors, what kind of material we are bringing to the interiors. So let me just quote an example here. So when we talk about Diwali, which is our most popular festival, so what we usually do, we paint our house, we get new carpets, we get new furnitures. But at the end of the day, what we are doing, we are actually bringing a lot of chemicals inside the building or a house. That's somehow getting inhaled by us, that's affecting our life. So what in interior, commercial interiors rating, what we usually say is that whatever materials we bring to the office or the homes, whichever prototype we're talking about, they have to be environment friendly. They should not be causing much harm to the human beings or to the environment during construction and during operations, and it has to be also cheap.
Now, after many years of construction, How can one ensure that the building remains green and energy efficient?
That's a very good question, Pooja. And in fact, that question has been asked to us by a lot of stakeholders. What about the performance of a green building?
Correct.
So, in the last several years, our team have done an intense research and we have come up with an excellent solution called the lead dynamic plaque.
Okay.
So that's something which is called the performance meter for a building. So usually when we rate a building, we give a plaque to any of the project owners. So that may be a metal plaque or a glass plaque, which is now having a new version which is called the dynamic plaque, which is like a light bright. So it's going to give you the performance of that building and that particular moment and that particular time.
Okay.
So we assess performance based on certain parameters like energy, transportation, waste, environment quality, water. So you need to feed in the values or you need to integrate your dynamic plaque with your BMS system, which can automatically feed in the value and make it more dynamic.
Can green buildings be made affordable?
Yes, you can say that green buildings cost a little bit more, which may be 5-7% when you go for platinum rated green buildings, with a payback period of 3 to 7 years.
Okay.
So yes, there would be certain cost element, but at the same time there are great savings also.
Exactly.
And when you ask, how can we make it more affordable? So one best solution of making it most affordable is conceptualizing the green building right from the initial stages.
Exactly.
Because something which is conceived as green would actually cost less because unless in the final stages when you think that you should go for a green building certification, then you might have to do certain changes and then could be the incremental cost could be a little higher.
We are talking about green buildings, but we do have conventional buildings. So does LEED have any role to play in existing buildings?
Yeah, so definitely LEED has a rating on existing building, and that's again a very, very important subject, because existing buildings, those are those buildings which were constructed at the time when we didn't had that efficient technology or that efficient products. So there is a lot of scope of improvement and a lot of scope of reducing the energy and water consumption in these buildings.
Well, when it comes to architecture, we should not forget our ancient architecture. Yeah. So, what role can ancient architecture play, in green buildings and the design that we need to follow in the current scenario?
Ancient architecture plays a very important role. In fact, what we are talking to today is learnings from the past.
Exactly.
So, if you talk about the example of Taj Mahal or the Red Fort or the Old Fort, they never had a air conditioning or a lighting system.
Exactly.
Still, you feel very, very comfortable when you are inside.
Correct.
Because of various reasons, it may be architectural design or it's because the jali walls, or if you take the example of old Havelis, so there used to be a old courtyard in between, where there was a space for air circulation.
Correct.
There was daylight coming in, a lot of fresh air coming in. So these are all the learnings that we have borrowed from the past, and we are still continuing, and we are just conceptualizing in terms of green.
Why do you suggest a builder or developer should make green buildings?
See, there are two benefits to it. One is a tangible benefit, another one is a non-tangible benefit. And the third one is that there is a market demand right now.
Correct.
So tangible benefits, everybody knows that green buildings are efficient and they are capable of saving 35 to 40% of energy and 35-40% of water, and that's the direct benefit to the owner or whoever is occupying the building. The other benefit, which is a non-tangible benefit, is that people tend to feel more happy, more convenient, more comfortable in a green building because they are more exposed to the environment. They are more connected to the environment.
Exactly.
So those are the elements, some abstract elements which people are now experiencing and demanding. The third element is because the demand is coming from the consumer's end.
Okay.
There are a lot of MNCs, a lot of IT giants who have a mandate that they will only walk into a LEED, at least gold certified building.
Now, I would like to know, since we want to promote green buildings, should they be made, the construction of green buildings should be made mandatory?
That's a good question. So, mandatory in India, it's a little tough right now.
Okay.
In fact, anywhere in the world, it's not mandated. So, it's recommendatory, not mandatory right now.
Achha.
But yes, at the same time, government plays a very important role, because there is an ECBC code which is coming from Ministry of Power, Bureau of Energy Efficiency.
Correct.
And that code talks about the minimum standards of energy, and that's getting notified in many of the states in a phased manner. So we also see government opening up in this direction, and ECBC code is something which all the LEED buildings actually follow, and some of them even surpasses that code. So yes, it's a matter of time.
And I think from Spin TV, we would wish you all the best in your endeavor, and we hope the green buildings concept reaches to the millions in India as well as worldwide.
That's all for now in this episode. Hope you'll now take all measures to make your home and office as green and energy efficient as possible. Till we meet again, it's goodbye, and for more updates and news in the real estate sector, keep watching Spin TV.